Welcome, everyone. This is Dawn Mist and my co-host, Natali Noir, and we're from MySoulrenity.com. We are certified life coaches who feel like our passion is searching within and expressing outward. We're excited to help others do the same on their journey. MyPossibility is a complement to our main site. It's a short podcast designed to empower, enrich, and guide you as you listen to your inner voice. In these podcasts, we may touch on self-reflection, healing, mindful mantras, meditation, your place in the universe, and of course, dig deeper into some of our own personal views. Are you ready to reveal your potential? Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's MyPossibility. And this topic is something that is very important that we're going to cover, and that is being scared of ourselves and our own power, and facing that fear of what we're capable of to move into our power. So what do you think?
It is something. It's very scary when you think about it, because when you talk about moving into your own power, you're kind of just talking about self-awareness, right?
That is definitely it. And I think that it's important for us to ask the question to ourselves, am I frightened of my own capability? My own abilities, my self-awareness, my own power.
Yeah. And I guess, self-awareness doesn't really exist in the way that we think it does, because what makes you self-aware? Yourself. And how can you observe yourself by being self-aware? It's simply the self being the self. That's all self-awareness really is. It really is just being yourself and experiencing all it is that you have to offer. And so that's why it can be really scary to step into that space of self-awareness and power.
That's right. And it requires a lot of thinking, a lot of growth, and a lot of questions that most people are afraid to ask. Most people are afraid to step into that part of themselves and say, okay, if I address these certain things, inside me, like my self-awareness, what does that mean I am capable of? Mm-hmm. And having personal power, like, what does that mean? The attainment of that power.
And I think it's kind of like also what you and I have talked about is we don't even realize we have that power, because most of us are walking around in kind of a complacent fog. And that's just a set of habitual beliefs about who we are and what's important and what we can do and what we can't do. And all of this is just a product of conditioning. So being able to take a step back and saying, what am I really capable of? That's going to be hard for a lot of us. And it's hard for me on a daily basis to step back and say, what is it that I actually can do today? Not what am I used to doing? What do I think I can do? It's what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to actually see through today? What am I going to do when I dig deep inside me today? And I think that is where the true power comes from. If we can just get out of that fog and out of that scary place for each of us.
Yeah, that's right. It builds a ladder. Like, it's almost like you're building a ladder up to that attainment. And that power, like you're saying, requires digging deep. Most people aren't ready to go there. Most people don't know how to go there, because lots of factors: society, like you said, conditioning, belief systems, everything that they've learned since they've grown up, since they've been children, all the way to adulthood. Addressing those things is so difficult. And that, like you said, in itself is a power, a capability. And you harness that.
You do. I mean, if you think about it, if you are popular among your friends and all your friends think you have your life together, then you're going to enjoy that. approval, and the notion of being responsible or successful. And so, whenever you increase self awareness and tapping into your own power, you're going to have to be okay with dropping ideas like that and discovering the critical areas of yourself where you do come short of success or looking responsible. There's going to be a point where your self awareness becomes more important than what your friends think or what your families think or other opinions of you. And if you can just cross that threshold, your friends, they might leave you, you might leave them, but it's something that's meant to be disruptive because it's supporting your growth, and you can only grow when you're out of that fog. And so I think that process alone is going to reveal who you are to yourself, and who the people who you're surrounding yourself are at their core.
Yes. And fear, that that's all based around fear. I mean, it's talking about the belief system of
Yeah.
of fearing, addressing, fearing not just the power, but the addressing, and then the fear of looking at it and saying, okay, this could mean I lose this. This could mean that this will change my life in a drastic way. This could mean that I might have to start reacting to things in a different way than I ever thought possible. And that isn't easy. It is a big stop sign for pretty much most of our world.
Yeah.
Distractions are a huge,
Mm-hmm.
huge, but
Mm-hmm.
when I get into talking about distractions, like
I know we
that's
can
the
get distracted by talking about distractions. We really can. Like we love talking about all the things that take our attention away from what we think is important, and that alone can even take us away from that. So that's why self-awareness and finding your own power is a double-edged sword. It is a magnificent gift if you can really unlock it, but it also opens the door to many of our fears, like Donna's saying, and some things that we're actually not even aware of. So yes, it will cause you to be afraid, but fear can also push you into that survival mode, that fight or flight mode. And then that's where the knowledge is going to come to you and sort of break down what you think you know or what you've been told or how you think you should act or be. And so I don't know about Dawn, but for me personally, I can't let fear stop me. That's just um,
yeah,
my way in life. I don't let fear stop me. If I'm scared of something, even more reason for me to do it. I want to push myself to sort of get past that fear, because sometimes it is an irrational fear, and sometimes once you do something, you think, well, it wasn't really as bad as I thought.
yeah. It's the same for me. And sometimes I have to do it in an impulsive way, like
Hmm.
when that fear, if it's been ruling me for whatever the fear is for such a long time, uh, and that used to happen a lot when I was younger, which is I think Natalie here, we've both had a lot of things we've healed in our lives that fear, you know, it goes in a circle. You keep going around with it, and it will keep you, and it can infect everything else that you do. So if I would sometimes, because of the fight or flight, I would get pushed impulsively into making a decision against the fear that I had.
Hmm.
That might look like strength. That might look like strength to some on the outside, but really, it's when you get pushed to the brink, and when
Right.
you get pushed to that brink, you're forced to face that fear. But what I think is more important is for people to consciously face a fear, to see the resistance that it's placing inside them, that they're creating by being afraid. And if you can consciously face fear without being shoved, and
Hmm.
because of life
Yeah.
situations,
It needs to
you
be a
reclaim it.
willing. Yeah, it needs to
Yeah.
be a willing step that you take. And I know we're talking a lot here about fear and being scared, but like I want to reiterate that usually on the other side of fear is going to be a hidden talent or some
Yep.
sort of new feeling or thought process that you have that got you over that fear. So even though we do let fear stop us a lot, once we can get past that fear, once we can stop going in the circle like Dawn is talking about, because I always think about fear like salt. I think about it like I'm carrying salt in my hands. And obviously, the more you're going around with fear, like you're not going to be able to keep that in your hands, it's going to fall everywhere that you've been. And so even when you go back and retrace your steps, fear is still going to be there in little granules everywhere, unless you take fear and you wash it down the drain. And that drain is you getting over whatever it was you were scared of, because you'll need to put that down to focus on whatever it is that is in front of you. And when you do that, that's when you're going to find out even more about yourself than you thought you knew.
Yep. And you'll integrate that. You will integrate all of the fear you faced, including the fear of what you are capable of doing. And that's, what it circles around to. What Natalie's saying is, behind that fear is the capability that is waiting for you to harness it. And I tell you, if you can even just in 1 week or 2 weeks conquer some kind of fear you have, whether it's, holding a spider or, doing something that you wouldn't do, like crossing, a street that you don't normally cross, or, whatever it is, even if it's a small thing, those become bigger trophies, and in the end they become large trophies to achievements of yourself and reclaiming power. It's like fragments of yourself, like you said with the salt. Fragments of yourself get dropped each time you live in that fear of what you're capable of, and you got to reclaim those fragments. You got to do that.
We do, because if you think about it, Dawn, you're really the only person that can talk yourself into or out of anything that you want. At the end of the day, you are your biggest cheerleader, but you're also your biggest downfall if you let it happen that way. And so you can do whatever it is you want to do, as long as you can talk yourself into it. You can go inside your brain, you can rummage around, you can rearrange some stuff, you can come out with a whole new perspective. And that idea alone is really powerful to me.
I love it. I love it. All right, guys, facing the darkness at times is hard, but when you turn and face it, that is the first step, and no more running, and finally facing yourself and getting back those pieces of yourself you lost. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. So stay connected with us on the web via our website, MySoulrenity.com. Follow us on Instagram for inspirational posts at my.soulrenity, or check us out on Twitter at msoulrenity, and subscribe, follow, like, do all those beautiful things you like to do that will help you keep in touch with us.